this is a serious joke. So I made about 50 of them, and I had an exhibition in Accra, and literally about 2 weeks after I exhibited those 50 bags, somebody came to me who was starting a series of schools, a system of schools across the country, and asked me if I could make 40,000 school bags for them.
40,000.
So, you know, I was with one of the young designers who was kind of apprenticing at the Institute, and I've never been good at math, but I knew 40 times anything was something. So I instinctively said yes. And when we were exiting the location, the young person looked at me and said, "Auntie, can we produce 40,000 school bags?" I said, "I don't know, but somebody can. Let's just get the money and figure this out." And, you know, and I think I said this to the young people I was talking to yesterday, you know, that dare to take a chance, you know, dare to see what an opportunity looks like. And in those days, I had 3 sewing machines, okay? And I had a half-finished building that I swiftly put a top on top of and constructed a bunch of equipment that looked like something out of the Industrial Revolution 80 years ago. Long story short, we produced those, produced those bags. But what was interesting, and again, this is a way of emphasizing that a problem is an opportunity. Of course, when the people that commissioned me to ask me to make those bags saw that I was using waste, of course they tried to push the price to a place that was just impossible to make it. And I was so desperate to have this opportunity, I kept thinking, well, you know, I really can't produce it at what they're asking me to produce it for. So I asked them, "Do you mind if I get it sponsored?" And they said, "We don't care." So I went immediately to a fast-moving, the largest fast-moving consumer goods company in Ghana, and said, "How would you like to have 40,000 children carrying your logo?" And they said, "Okay, fine." And they actually gave me enough money that I was able not only to produce the bags, but to start developing educational materials about recycling and environmental sustainability. But what was even more interesting is that I learned something in that process. And I never, again, thought that my only option when trying to secure funds to do something should be limited to their social entrepreneurship or their social responsibility budgets. I went to their marketing budget. And so that whole process, if you keep your eyes open while you're trying and doing and imagining, you're just always amazed at what opportunities will avail themselves. And I think it's about staying open, being honest, trusting your instincts, and being as creative as you can, and making sure you make a quality product.
Wonderful. And from there, I still have one of those bags, by the way. They were so cute.
It was called the Black Star, which was pretty cool.
It's a pretty cool bag.
We used the Coca-Cola can, we cut that open, we stamped out a star, a negative star, and put a little inner tube underneath of it and stitched it on the bag. So it was the Black Star GSB, Ghana School Bag.
But then I watched her evolve from all these things to clothing. And one of my favorite outfits, I was torn between wearing this one and another one today, where she was collecting shirts and putting them together and making these fabulous outfits, dresses and jumpsuits and skirts from shirts. So let's talk a little bit about clothes and secondhand clothing and what happens in that sector that you are very passionate about. You believe that it supports livelihoods. She's always training young people at her facility. So, Renee, what role do you believe it can play if it's better supported in a truly circular fashion system?
Well, I think as everyone has observed, it's a huge industry. And what's been really marvelous about this opportunity to attend this conference is to hear about all the different ways in which people are prepared to interface with textile waste. I knew when I started playing with it that I didn't want to do one-offs, that I thought I was interested in seeing whether or not we could actually create jobs and create lines of fashion. How could we, after that initial experience of no experience in producing 40,000 school bags, I realized that you can scale things. And so when I went after textile waste, for example, I started actually using denim in the beginning. And when I went to the Obruniweru market, I always liked the Obolu denim, the largest one, the biggest piece of denim trousers you could get, because I used to just cut them open and use them for their fabric. And I started doing the same with all the materials. These trousers that I'm wearing are t-shirts. They're just t-shirts. So when I interface with the textile, I usually just cut it up and use it for the fabric. And then assemble it so that I know that I can make a series of 1,000 if I want. And in fact, if I wanted to, and what we're doing now with our latest project, which is the Essie sweater, is creating decentralized production units so that we're actually scaling so that all the communities we're working with can actually produce 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. We build to scale like that.
Wonderful. I'm hearing a hum. Is something going on that we're missing out back there? Hello? Very important conversation up here. Please join us in it. Okay? Thank you. Let's talk about global brands. What does shared responsibility look like to you? How can fashion houses do more without creating dependency or just PR moments?
Well, I think they can be more conscious about the quality, obviously, that they produce and the quantity they produce. I think that's a baseline. I think it's about quantity and quality. Is that a satisfactory answer?
Do you think perhaps, too, that more dialogues need to be had with larger global brands about them being more conscious about the contribution that they're making versus just the fashion? I think that there's this big rush to always be highlighted, have that IG moment, have that Vogue page, but the responsibility that comes with fashion isn't a dialogue that's had a lot.
As I said, I think there's some responsibility about the quantity and the quality, and I think there's some responsibility about taking responsibility for the waste they've created and supporting systems and people, with real contributions to find solutions to help us in the interim get rid of textile waste.
Okay.
While we try to get to zero textile waste.
Well, you often say that waste is what we make invisible. So how do your models center people, especially women and youth, in reclaiming that space?
Okay, as I said, one of our most recent projects is called the Essie Project. And it's a weaving project. For example, this repurposed, this shirt that I have on that was cut up and reassembled, I cut it up, and so I had lots of strips of waste. And one of the young designers that work in the studio with us one day saw that waste and started stitching it together and making strips. And then she started weaving it. And it was just amazing what this woven product looked like. And when I showcased it at the Lagos Fashion Week last year, it was amazing the demand we got for that product. And so we tried to imagine, how can we scale this? How can we get this larger? And so one of the ideas we came up with was creating a very simple loom and running a training program, teaching women and primarily mothers how to weave. And we're in the process of distributing over 500 looms this
Wow.
next year. And they actually produce this at home. And that sweater is a high market item.
Yeah.
So, and the process of weaving, aside from being a job, is a rather calming, meditative activity. So women who ordinarily may have been walking around selling sachet water on their heads now can make at least 5, 10 times that money by weaving at home. And we went further as everything's a process, and the more you engage with anything, the more conversant you become with it, and the more efficient And so a process that we were taking to use 2, 3 looms to do to construct the sweater, we now have one simple rectangular loom that produces that sweater.
But now that brings me to another question.
Okay.
Or did you have something else you wanted
No,
to say?
let me lay on your question.
Okay, go ahead.
No, go with the question.
Oh, I was going to say, that brings up a very important point. Distributing looms to 500 different homes and having these women be employed to make this, I mean, you should see, it is a high-end crocheted woven sweater now that you'll probably be selling at Saks or Neiman's or someplace. But it begs another question, because there are traditional models of mass production that could interfere with the landscape and the environment, or there are community-led projects like this where you can still have high production without interrupting the layers of community. Can you address that a little bit about how development doesn't have to rob the environment or change the landscape?
You know, and I'm glad you're asking that question, Michelle, because I think this conference and this gathering of people provides us with a very unique opportunity, because we've all come together to address a really big problem, textile waste, and how do we manage it. And all of us are on the same page that it's something that needs to be managed and something that can be managed.
Get into the mic.
But I think, sorry? But I think what's important as well when we talk about ecosystems of economy, ecosystems of people, that we don't forget the ecosystem of the environment. I think it's important that we imagine that that development can take place in different ways. You know, that there are other, and I'm not sure I know the answer, but I know it's something that we should be thinking about. How do you scale production? You know, I think we've had enough experience with large industrial models not to necessarily think that's the only way it can be done. You know, when I got away from some of the discussions and I was thinking about it, it's like, okay, there's a problem, there's textile waste. Okay, there's a problem. There's people that need housing. Okay. Every economic problem or every economic issue that is a challenge to us is also a social challenge. Okay, I can say, you know, people need housing. I can say, okay, let's make a large project of high-rise buildings. Okay, but I have to ask myself, what is the social implication of that? And what has our histories taught us about the social implication of that? You know, that if you're living in a high-rise building on the 50th floor, you can live in that building and be a stranger to your neighbor next door. You know, again, if I am bold enough and not afraid to sound simple enough to reference traditional models that I've met when I came to Ghana, where most housing and living facilities were built around courtyards where people greeted their neighbors in the morning as part of life, and that the environment, and that, again, I said it the other day, that a tree is more than just a tree. A tree that was in the center of that courtyard, you know, didn't just bear fruit. It was a natural infrastructure. It was a drainage system. It created shade. It purified the air. It was a source of medicine. It was a source of food. It was a source of fuel. And I just think that we cannot just look at this. We have to remember that these are all integrated systems. And while we're challenged with the awesome task of managing how to interface with textile waste, we cannot forget the human cost of that, and we should be equally concerned with how do you scale. And I remember someone telling me that at the end of the day, great things are only the accumulation of many small. And so I do think there's other ways to imagine industrialization without hearkening back to traditions that we know have trashed the environment. And I think that's a huge thing to imagine, because it's second nature to us to believe that's the only way to go. And so I feel very, very, very passionate that while we're all assuming the responsibility to think about this one lane of something that's disturbing the environment, to think about it in a more holistic way. And nobody has the answers. We're challenged again to put our heads together and ask ourselves, what's the end goal? Of course I think too is thinking we all want to live and make money. And I think there's a difference between making a living and living well, opposed to talking about always making wealth. Wealth sounds like it's always extra, more than you need. We're talking about, I think, having a more equitable sense of how people in the community can live in dignity without overburdening any part of our ecosystem. It's like, I get nervous about saying this because it makes you sound so primitive. Like, why haven't you gotten into the game? But I really think that all of us are obliged to assume the challenge of reimagining systems of development without imagining that we can't develop without large, monstrous facilities. And that you can replicate those things in smaller areas. You can still do that. At the end of the day, when you're on your last days of life, what really matters to you is not how much money, is whether somebody's holding your hand.
That's right. Thank you, Renee. It's an important conversation, and I know that we could be here for a long time talking about it, but I think that they want to move on at this point. But it was so rich what you said, and it's true, when we die, we can't take any of it with us. And it's been said that no one cares about what you have or what you know, just how you made them feel. So can we add value to people by showing a different way of repurposing life, repurposing fabric, repurposing what's there? And I think it's even important for people who are not wealthy, as we know wealth to be, to feel enriched by what they have access to. And when we repurpose things, it gives them another view that I already have fabulous stuff right here, Yeah,
and I just want to be clear that I'm not anti-development. I'm just saying there's different models.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that we can all do good and do well.
Yes.
And we all need money and resources to live. I'm asking us to challenge ourselves to ask, how much do you really need, and what models do we want to celebrate and build? In my world, there's enough for everybody. And I'm finished.
And as we finish, I'll do a short commercial for Renee that she will be debuting her new line of sustainable wear at Berlin Fashion Week, and it is fabulous. So she has some beautiful things for retail. As you can see, I'm always wearing something of hers, even though I have my own fashion line, hint, hint. But
the nice thing about it is we started out with sheets and tablecloths, but we grew up and ended with T-shirts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh, come on, guys, put your hands together for Michelle. You haven't lost your swag.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to come to a quick close. Two big things to do. This is the final panel. It's just a 4-man panel, and we're going to make it very short, and then we'll do the fashion show. We've already set up the stage, so please bear with us. Somebody said to me there are two very important things you need to remember as a journalist: the optics and the narrative. The optics is, how does this look? Narrative, how does this sound? We've had 2 days of lots of talk, so we want to sort of close with agreeing on the narrative for Kantamanto, because it's become the epicenter of the discussion, and I think yesterday was fabulous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up 4 people, and they will help us craft the right narrative for Kantamanto. You can help us do that, and then we'll do a fashion show with some of the exhibitors who've come around. So is that a good plan? All right, wonderful. So first person I'm going to call is Edward Atobra. Did I get that right? Where is Edward? Wonderful. Edward is from the Ghana Used Clothing Dealers Association. So they are the guys. You are the big importers. You are the big boys. Wonderful. Put your hands together for Edward. And then we have Dr. Akosia Abdallah, a woman I've watched on television. I think when the National Theatre was opened. A Bibi Groma. Where's Akosia Abdallah? Oh my God. I can't believe I'm seeing you in the flesh. I'm starstruck. My goodness. She's the real deal. Doc, it's good to see you. Thank you for what you do. 4 decades of service to the creative industry. We're very proud of your achievements. Please have a seat. Oh, come on, guys. Put your hands together for Dr. Akosia Abdallah. And we also have Lauren Goodwin, Fiber Echoes. She's an upcycler, stroke designer. Where's Lauren? All right, righty. And I'm advised that this one is a market retailer. Do we have the name? Is it Abena or is it different? Cynthia, okay. So Abena Cynthia. Wow. You know, in traditional Akan societies, you are Equia Rose, Abena Cynthia. Ya Messi. So her name just means she has street cred. She's from the. All right. So what am I going to do? So this is what. By way of context, right? I think a few months back there was a massive fire at Kantamanto. So for those of us in the media, it was all about Kantamanto is burnt, devastation. Do we rebuild it? Do we move them? So generally, we discuss Kantamanto from 2 perspectives in the media. It's like, oh, these guys, they are a nuisance. There are too many wooden sheds. The place gets burnt, and then it's not nice. Then there's also the whole idea of waste, because, of course, we've been talking about the fact that there's a lot of dumping and stuff like this. All right? So that's the background. But I want Edward to tell us how the rebuild effort has gone. All right? Because for some of us, we don't know what's happened. How is the place looking now, and what kind of help have you had? So just summarize for us that journey from the fire to where we are. And you are doing that in a minute and a half.
Thank you very much. After we've gone for the Xmas, entering into the new year, we heard Kantamanto is on fire. So it was a very hectic situation. So we brought all the stakeholders together because the place is a livelihood where about 30,000 people operate to do their businesses. And then looking at dependency on Kantamanto, you can see that one person, a family of like 10 people depend on that person. And we cannot afford to sit down for these livelihoods to go waste. So we put down food tins, and then we had sympathizers came in to donate so much for the rebuilding of the market. So right now, if you go to Kantamanto Market, the market has been revamped. Wow. And business is ongoing as usual. So
it's fully operational?
Yeah.
In how many months did you fix it? Did it take you?
Just 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
I think there's a round of applause. Wonderful. You should get a job at NADMO. It takes them much longer to do normal renovations. Cynthia, do you sell at Kantamanto? So how has it been since the fire? Have you got is your shop functioning? Are you?
Yes. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to thank the O Foundation. If not the O Foundation, like I will not be here. And I am also thankful to the community members, the Kantamanto retailers. We are all here.
Okay.
We are all here. And
where
then the concerned members too are all here.
Yeah, give me a wave. Yes. All right.
The concerned members, Mohammed and Mustafa, Nanado and Yao. If you are here, please show up, please.
Where are you?
Thank
Mohammed,
you so much. You also work in the market with us.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
It's been a collective effort.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
me pacho we de meka tree send e be ya meka ne yie
You better ase.
enti meka na wa translate
Flow.
because importers wa ha and exporters so wa ha say because me ejuma wa kantamanto me school sem wo from kakra
Udeka.
enti meka tree na wa
So she's going to speak tree, and I'll translate. If I say anything that's not true, ask the Ghanaian next to you. Inti twaso abuna.
Okay. Me pacho kantamanto ye bia sebeta flache ekunafo single parents ena nyanka ena ye ejuma o kantamanto. Enti no ejuma na ye no ejuma eden se wo men ya wo hu se na ejuma ne tie wo be fi se bia ye woska do ye woska because ya na yekuta ye sika ena ye de akofa niama nti sika de ye wo pa and we are also proud ewe ejuma na ye no so ho obi ti say me single parents me sorry ahomache every day 4 a.m. akodwem akoton ade me sorry ahomachi de bia 6 days me hu me manim I just a weekend na me hu me ba enim me ba fie na ade asa enti ya fa ne se adwuma no ye bibia eno an ye de hwe fie enti ye ni da ye de home ewe adwuma ne mo.
Mami Church Bukakra.
Okay.
So she's basically saying that Kantamanto is a place where a lot of disadvantaged people work, including single mothers and sometimes destitutes.
Yeah.
There is a lot of money there because they work very, very hard. But for somebody like her who's a single mother, she has to work sometimes 6 days a week. And for days, she may not even see her kids because you have to wake up very early. Because usually they bring the goods quite early. So she may have to leave by 4 a.m. So maybe she sees her children only on weekends. So the point is, it's a place of hard-working, proud people. That's basically the summary of what she said. Correct? Okay. So
Dear Tosumienu, ejuma na ye o kantamanto no first no na ka ye hiafo ejuma. Nanso enne ejuma we wonni sika wontumi nye. Adentia because niama no ne boa ye den. Niama ne boa ye den pa kire se wonni sika wontumi nwura ejuma ni mu. Andra Marvin ka se ne papa ejuma eno no so etoa so. Na as a retailer like me, se send ejuma no akoye no me ma memba embe she ejuma etise mu. Enti ama akoye ti se ejuma na ayeye no se no eluku bad amaye enso nka ne ejuma no entisa.
So she's saying that the market dynamics of the job has changed. In the past, ordinary poor people could go and set up and sell, but now there's something like a barrier to entry. Larger capital is required. So when, for example, yesterday one of the panel members said his dad started in Kantamanto and handed over to him, she is not confident she can hand over to her kids because the nature of money required to survive in Kantamanto has changed drastically. Correct? Twaso?
Yeah. Meka me life story bika krebi di atremo. Niame femu wa Kantamanto.
Pacho Twaso na nenye.
Meka me pese me ye na obi ate ase.
Yes.
Sorry.
Bonite uteu.
Mpacho time me ye dwuma Kantamanto. Ye dwuma na ye no ye hand to mouth day by day dwuma. Da kro wan kwa wunye sika ento aduane wo endi wunye sika kra nhwe fie. Enti da kro me wo market na me ba wo school me ba ketwa e na omo frame me say me ba ne yare. Na in fact me ntimi mpake at once enko fie because me ton ade. Enti me ma mo de me ba ne ba fie e na me co-tenant e hwe akwala no. Enti me pon ya me ko fie no na me hwe akwala ne man na duro. Ade a chen ya still na sa net ye na wo sanka metine fie that very day. Na me hwe me ba no. Esan se sika nda fie enti no. Mantine fie me de akwala ne hwe mechi eko market eko to a medwuma so. Etwen ye se customer bi ba beto ade ansana menye bia koto eduro e de ama no. Enti dia me famu no sa so na all the retailers in the market so femu ukọ hono mo a sanso na omu femu ewo honomo sani America no ejuma na ye no gambling lotto broni achechire ne amaho akrafi abrochire di aba me de minim se me cotton blouse but minim dia ewom ya chro wo ho minim dia ewom nti me kwa na makwa akoto na me dia aba me biesu ansa me hu dia ewom na de bia obekọ yard ye fe ne yard mu imported side ye fe ne yard mu de bia obekọ ho bia anso no na niama no ya tum na ansa na yebedu won so ye kwa ahomache pa se na ebe ya ubenya ne direct ato se ye kan direct importers straight who call imported side straight na wakwa akoto ba ubedu ho no na ye se niama na akodi supplier nsem no so no so de ne de ato so na wakwa akoto supplier nsem me fan say last week me to niama 3,000 the following week me kono mo to 3,500 and I say bia 4,000 me fan say 3,200 me kan sika na me de bae no 3,000 sa dia aka me kwa kofa no wo hemfa ade me bobosia ewo me yonko nchen and I say me nya bia wo say me jai na me di sika no koto fie nti ejuma na ye in fact prices na ye hu no prices na enya transparency emayen prices no amone ye endi ni ye with the prices me ma toni ama ebi ne ma bi wa ma toni 8,500 children's clothes ebi wa mo toni 7,000 ebi wa the lowest me fan say 3,000 ne ma ne ye wo A ye wo B ye wo C.
Okay, me perceive wo de asem no echo.
Okay, enti se no dia me perceive me kire ne say ne ma na ye fa no in fact omo hwe ebo no na ni nyina abo no enya baako ema yen ebo ni nyina anya baako ema yen na ebo no so engina faako ema yen se na ebe ya ye ba ye betimi ato because ejuma no ye ne omo na eye sabita flash ye nu ho a omo ni ho omo su ni ho a ye su ye ni ho do e wo mi say second hand clothing ejuma na ye ni ama no untimi enya no pepepe.
Yes. So yes. She's basically elaborating on the point around how the economics of the business has changed, and it becomes so difficult that for a retailer like her, if she misses even one day of work, that means no money. So she gave a very touching story of a day where her child or somebody she was looking after was not well, and she couldn't miss work, so she had to carry the sick child to the market to sell before she could have money to take the child to the hospital. Is that dire? But the broader point she's making is that because they don't have capital, there are middlemen or sort of people who buy in bulk and sell to them. And she's concerned about two things. The prices are not uniform, so people arbitrarily charge for a bill or whatever quantity she wants to buy. And the prices are also not predictable. So different people can charge different prices for the same thing, and the prices change too frequently. So she's asking for, and she also complained about lack of transparency. The point that if they bring a whole bill, you may say you are going to buy a bill of blouses. Some of that may be something else, and there's no way you're going to know. So she's also implying the need for more transparency and then stability in prices. So I think she's made a fantastic one. Let's put our hands together for her. Thank you.
Please, I'm not done. Let me.
There be a panel discussion. So hold on for me, guys. Hold on for me, guys. Guys, look, we have just 20 minutes. I can do a fire chat with her for like an hour, right? So let's just be true to the panel. So he's from the association. They've done the rebuilding. Her reality is the economic drudgery. It's a difficult place to work, right? Now, the lady next to her, she has part of the answers, all right? Basically, you're using upscaling to prolong the lifespan of some of the clothes and to also make it more sustainable as a business. So I'd like you to share a bit about what you do. Then I'll come to Akusia to sort of piece it. So a couple of things for you, Akusia. The business has changed, but the story also has to change. And how can we use theater, entertainment, music, and all the creative arts to change the narrative around Kantamanto? And how can Kantamanto also help in our industry, whether it's in the form of using material from there or that kind of thing. So this is the plan. So it's very simple. But let me come to you first. Tell us a bit about what you do and how that helps to make people like her life better. Correct? Wonderful.
So we are not just upcyclers. I want to make that point clear. It's not just upcycling that our organization is a part of. It's really about education. And not just education on how to take waste and make something more profitable from it, but also speaking about why we have so much waste to begin with. And what we can do as consumers to try to mitigate some of that waste. So yes, we can, a little bit away. So yes, we sometimes we upcycle things and we're able to sell them. But at the end of the day, can I honestly sit here and say that that's directly beneficial to her? If I'm not buying all of what she has for that day, or at least half of it, how much of a contribution am I on a smaller scale, am I really making? So I don't want to glorify, let me say, recycling or upcycling as a sole or direct solution to waste, because it's not. The direct solution to waste is to stop producing so much and to curb our consumerism. And so really what our work is about, more than just upcycling, more than just upcycling, is really educating consumers about what we can do to be more responsible when it comes to the amount that we are consuming. Also, trying to understand who, as an entire industry, who is truly responsible for different parts of this waste issue, right? You have the consumers, but then you also have the manufacturers, right? You also have these fast fashion players. And I think when you really start to break it down, much like what she was talking about is labor, right? We are benefiting from her having to overwork herself in order to just make ends meet. So if we're having a conversation about sustainability, if we are having a conversation about ecosystems, and we are not talking about labor, we're not talking about labor exploitation, then we're really not getting to the heart of the matter of what's happening here. How is it that a company or a brand like Shein is able to exist and also meet the profit margins that they have? Yes, materially they are working with things that are of very poor quality, that are very cheap, but also they are exploiting people. And this part of the sustainability narrative rarely comes into the conversation. How can we use, all of the waste that's coming into Continental, but how do we stop some of that waste from coming to the nation to begin with? Why are we the ones now responsible for waste that we didn't even necessarily create? Do you understand what I'm saying? So my position on this is not just, oh, let's upcycle, let's recycle, and that's the answer. No, we have to go way back. We have to go way back to the farmers who are farming the cotton or the wool. Are they being paid properly? Right? Then the people in the factories, are they being paid properly? There are so many different aspects to the supply chain that it's easy to leave out when we only want to talk about economics, when we only want to talk about how we can turn something and make more money off of it. But what we have to remember before all of that is human beings. Yeah. And really our organization, the Fiber Echoes, we are in the business of human beings, and we are in the business of understanding human beings, understanding communities, and understanding how waste affects communities.
No, I love that. I love that. And you've reinforced a lot of the things Liz said yesterday in a very eloquent way. I actually wanted you to talk more about how you were turning waste into opportunity, because everything you've said is valid, but the focus of the panel is also to say, so yes, whilst we are working, we can also chew gum, right? So the point is, we are doing long-term things. A lot of the things on this we've discussed here around policy and stuff are critical, but we also need the feel-good thing you're doing, because it's part of the solution. Do you follow me? So this is not to deny all the things you've said, but the real entry is to say, by the way, whilst we're doing all this education, we're finding time to train people, we're designing stuff, do you understand, at the micro level, because a lot of times people feel like most things are at the high macro level. There's
Absolutely.
no agency. And you are a good example of somebody who's working both ways.
Sure.
Which is why we put you on the panel for you to,
Sure.
to articulate.
Sure.
You feel me?
Sure. So we provide workshops and other educational opportunities to all different types of communities, mostly throughout Accra, whether it's schools or just different groups of people. So what we really do is we take the waste that we have. Now, I want to also make the point that any textile waste that we have, it comes from a program that we call swapping. So we will set up twice a month, once a week, and we allow people to come and exchange things that they no longer want for things that other people have also brought. And through that, not everything can go back into the swap cycle. So then we say, okay, eventually we're going to upcycle this, or we are going to donate it. From there, the different ways that we upcycle is not just taking t-shirts and turning them into trousers or a blazer or what have you. We also work with plant material, plant dyes. So showing people how to take something like hibiscus flowers or turmeric and to naturally dye your clothing instead of using the synthetic dyes that also get into the waterways and into the land and continue to affect our ecology and our environment. Wow. So especially with the children, when we have our textile waste workshops, it's not always about upcycling to make more fashion. We also show them things that are fun or just, you know, new for children. So it can be household things, toys, you know, all different kinds of things that you can upcycle, you know, a t-shirt or whatever into that doesn't necessarily have to be another garment or another piece of clothing. Right. So these are the kinds
Thank
of...
you.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Lauren. So, Akosia, you have a difficult job. You are answering the last question for the panel. And I make it two in one question. How are you transforming, or how can the creative industry transform the narrative of Kantamanto from dumping ground to a secular solution? So there's a problem, but there's a solution in the problem.
Hello everyone, my name is Akos Abdallah. I'm an actress, or I think I am. Well, the performing arts builds on secular culture where waste is not an end, but a beginning. For those of you who are not familiar with Kantamanto, Kantamanto is more than a market. It is a learning area. It is a classroom. It is a workshop. You go to Kantamanto, you have tailors, you have seamstresses, you have sorters. And for those of us coming from the performing arts, we rely on them to put value to what they have already in the market, in the sense that for our costumes, for our set design, there are days when we have period plays. You need a Shakespearean play. What kind of costume are you going to get to go with that production? Are you going to go to ATL? Are you going to go to GTP? You're only going to go to Kantamanto. That's where you can get clothes. I spoke with Renee. During lunch, I saw Renee in a beautiful outfit. And I was telling myself, has this beautiful lady turned her dress inside out? No. That's fashion. That's creativity. That's innovation. And for those of us in the performing arts, that is what we're looking at. I'll tell you a little story. I have 3 daughters. They were working with young men, and they love Kantamanto because I've always taken them there. And my middle daughter told my oldest, Fana, they've brought new clothes. Charlie, let's go. Shut up, Pando, shut up. There are guys around there. No, Fana, let's go. I guess I was so embarrassing because these guys felt they are coming from the high-end parts of town. They go abroad, and so they are not to be seen wearing Kantamanto clothing. But for some of us, it's fashion. My pants I'm wearing right now didn't come from the US, didn't come from the UK. It came from Kantamanto.
Whoa.
I remember once, I remember once in New York, in Manhattan, in Macy's actually, to be precise, I had my Obroni Wewu shoes from Cantamanto, and I was feeling good wearing them. I entered the shoe department, and the customer care head was ushering me towards the designer area because I was wearing designer shoes.
From Cantamanto.
He thought my designer shoes were high-end, and so he ushered me to an area where I could get more. I sat there and said, hey, Akosia, you bought this in Cantamanto for 30 cedis. What they are going to introduce to you is $2,000. How the hell? I made an excuse about losing my ATM, and I ran away back to Cantamanto. So really, for those of you who are not familiar with Cantamanto, they build their own resilience. And I'm saying this because the gentleman on my right, a few months or so ago, Cantamanto was burned. 3 days after, the market was back. And so for all of us in the performing arts, we need to collaborate with them, we need to work alongside with them and ensure that their work goes to the moon and space. Thank you.
Wow. I love this. So this is a bonus question. I think it was Chinua Achebe who said, until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter.
Yes.
So my concept of India changed when I watched Slumdog Millionaire. Bombay to Mumbai, and I fell in love with the place. I haven't been to India yet, but I'll definitely go and look for all the things I saw in the movie. You guys have a lot of power to retell stories. What would it take to produce a movie called Cantamanto?
Oh, easily. In fact, yesterday, I was amazed and I was excited to see the cultural ambassador Aso perform a dance with the Kaza group. I hope next time, I think I had a conversation with Henry. Are you there? Next time, we should have a 5-7 minute skit.
Thank you.
Just on Cantamanto.
Yes, please.
And I'm available to help sort that one out.
Correct. Wow. So, for those who are looking for next steps, a 5 to 7 minute skit on Cantamanto, who's going to pay for that? We'll put our heads together. Wonderful. Look, I could do this all day, but we have other things going. So let's put our hands together for the panel. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. We're done. Okay.
Say again.
Thank you.
The panel is done. You know, I always drop the mic when the things are the highest. So you want more next year. So Akosia, thank you very much. And the others on the panel. I appreciate Lauren, Edward, and Abna. So Judith, what's next?
Well, Bernard, we're going to do our fashion show.
Alrighty, guys, put your hands together. Yes.
The climax.
The fashion show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as
which designers are we looking at?
So basically we're going to get a collection from, the Stuart Trevor collection. Yes, both of them.
Yeah, so Stuart Trevor collection.
Stuart Trevor, yeah.
All right, so we have a catwalk already set up. We will not break for coffee. So you can go grab something and take it whilst you're here if you're really pressed. So I thought we had a DJ session as well.
Yes, basically we're going to have a performance. The steel drums, yesterday we had him perform.
All right.
He flew all the way from Amsterdam to come
Is
do
it?
this.
So are we doing that before the fashion show? The fashion show first?
No, we're going to start with our fashion show. And I believe, Stuart, are you ready?
So Trevor.
Hey.
Oh, come on guys. Come on guys.
He is more than ready.
Hello.
Tell us about this collection.
Don't go and get coffee because we're ready. There's about 20 really beautiful Ghana's Next Top models waiting outside to come and do a little show.
Great. And before they come on, tell us really what's the inspiration behind this collection we're about to see.
Yeah, so I wrote some notes. I don't normally ever do notes, but I made some notes just because I thought I should maybe just say thank you to everyone for having me here. in Ghana. So I've been in the fashion business for over 40 years. Can you believe it? Look how young I am. I started at Reiss, then I founded a brand called All Saints. They're both global brands, billion-dollar turnovers. And then about 5 years ago, I started working with brands that have a positive social or environmental impact. And I learned a lot about what's going on in the world. Some of the facts I learned were every 5 minutes, there's a pile of clothes the height of Mount Everest going into landfill. The fashion industry is the third largest polluter, and if it was a country, it would be third behind China and USA in pollution terms,
Right.
which is quite shocking. And nowadays, with the rise of fast fashion and the internet and social media, people are looking at their phones all day long, and these billion-dollar corporations are brainwashing everyone into believing that they don't have enough. People that have wardrobes at home that are rammed full of clothes, and they go out and they see an advert and they go to H&M or Primark or Zara or whatever, and they go into with the idea of like they're going to pick up a t-shirt for £3, but then they end up buying a basket full of clothes, and they go home and they look in their wardrobe and there's nowhere to put the clothes. They don't know what they're going to do. So I thought I was trying to champion young brands that have this positive social environmental impact, and I was introducing them to investors. And all of these investors, about 3 or 4 years ago, several times asked me about, why don't you do another brand? I used to love All Saints, I used to love Reiss, but they're now huge corporations. Why don't you do something a bit more rock and roll like All Saints used to be? And I was like, the last thing the world needs is another clothing brand. And then they were like, yeah, but I love what you're wearing. And I have only ever worn vintage, but I do things to it, like I add things to the back of it, and they were like, wow, that's amazing. Why don't you just do that? And I went away and I thought about, what about a clothing brand that doesn't produce any clothing? And I launched it 2 years ago, and people thought I was insane. They didn't know. They were like, what are you talking about? How could you, what do you mean a clothing brand that doesn't produce any clothing? It's a bit like a hotel company that doesn't own any hotels, Airbnb, or a taxi company that doesn't own any taxis, like Uber. And so I launched it, and here we are 2 years later. We've sold to 5,000 people all over the world. Second biggest market is USA, then Canada, then Australia. The number one market is the UK.
Okay.
And I wanted to come over here to check in and meet up with people from the Cantamanta market and some of the people that deal with the UK waste, and show them what I can do with waste.
So how many models do you have now?
So we have about 20 models, and I wanted to say a thank you to these kids because they're from the Climate Sociologists Society.
So they are going to be modeling for you today?
They are going to be modeling right now, and every single item that you're going to see is something that already existed. So none of it is made from new. And I just wanted to give, so I've had 40 years experience.
Okay.
Hopefully I've got it right.
So we're going to call on them for now, and then when we're done, we'll talk more.
So I think we're ready to go. Let's dance.
Trevor collection.
Let's sway through the crowd to an empty space.
Yeah.
next track.
I wish you could swim
acknowledgement is going to the climate sociologists for providing us with volunteers who modeled in the Stuart Trevor collection clothes. A round of applause once again for them. They're going to be standing by, and any of you who wants to see these clothes and maybe purchase some of them, you can go over, look at them, have a good look, and buy if you want. Once again, a round of applause for Stuart Trevor and the climate sociologists. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to have another fashion show, but before then, we're going to have a special performance from a steel pan drum artist. He was here yesterday, flew all the way from Amsterdam just to come and perform for us this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Derek Simpe.
I'm not going to be able to rock and roll like Stuart did, but that was amazing. You should give him another round of applause. That was crazy. Put that back there. Put it there. What I'm going to do very quickly is just show a number of materials that we've worked with over the years, give you an example of them. And where'd the steel drummer go? There he is. Hello, we're going to need your vibe. We're going to just let him do a slow Caribbean, African beat for us. Stuart took us to rock and roll. We're back in the tropics now, all right? We're back in the heat. And so I hope my guys are ready. First, I'm going to just show you our first collection. We're going to start with denim. Anyway, this is a denim jacket made out of pockets. That's our little Chanel look. Let me style. Give us a little swagger. We've gone from denim to men's shirts.
which is also reversible.
So it stays on the tongue. More t-shirts. Amazing what you can do with t-shirts. Is it reversible? Let's see your
performance. All too soon we come to the end of this beautiful conference. 2 days. I'm going to miss you all. But to give us a closing remarks, we're going to call on Samuel and Henry, the brains behind Landfills2Landmarks. Okay, he's coming all the way from the back. Keep doing it over there. There's a long way to go. I think we are doing better. This has been an awesome conference, and these are the brains behind it.
First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you. Let's give ourselves a big round of applause. We thought we were just solving a very small problem, but we have ended up creating an industry event, which is going to be here for a long time. So I think from now on, Landfills2Landmarks is an industry event that is going to promote textile sustainability globally. And we are happy that all of you are part of this maiden edition. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Would like to thank the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We'd like to thank the Office of the Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability, and all the government agencies that have given us phenomenal support from the get-go. We'd also like to thank our headline sponsors, TRI, Textile Recycling International, our sponsors, ELT Global, international sponsors. We also want to thank From Packaging, also Tradeway, Shipping, Greenfield Ambassadors, Sage Recycling. I mean, it's like a family, so and one again, Gaio, the Ghana Youth Clothing Dealers Association, Stuart Travel, Cream Exchange, our media partners, TV3 Graphic, City, Wazo, Asasi Radio, the incredible support we've received from the British Heart Foundation, David Roman and Alison Svenhughes, and everybody, most importantly, the team. I think the team has been phenomenal. And all the guys who've worked on this project, it's been amazing. And everybody else who made it here. Yeah, right. So I think, I don't even know what to say, but I just want to say thank you. And I'd just like one more thing. If you knew you worked on this project, I would gladly want for you to come up just so that the audience can see and appreciate you. I think this is one of the most important things that I could ever say. I mean, the volunteers, I mean, please, if you can, everybody just come on stage, and I would love to see you. Sorry. Yes. Sorry, all of them. Let's go, please. All the guys, please. Thank you. Miss Emily. All right, and all our online communities, there's quite a few people who are doing a lot of work for us online. Most of them, or some of them, are not here, and incredibly grateful. We thank you all for your support. But these guys made it happen. I mean, we share the concepts, and Evans, he didn't want to come because he's shy. Evans from 6 Degrees and Elevate, he was like, no, Henry and Samuel, I'm going to produce this. I said, okay, no problem at all. And we just had one conversation. So yeah, he literally just took the concept and decided to run with it. And just so everything you see here, from production to the technical teams, this guy made that happen with his team. We're very, very grateful for that. And I know Marvin don't want to come up here, but I think from the very first conversation we had, Marvin has been supportive, said, look, guys, we want a common platform for everybody to come together and share their views on what's ongoing. We want to ensure that there's transparency, and that was brilliant. And finally, my very, very, where's Yvonne, my sister, where is she? So we needed things to be on time. We needed things to run. We needed somebody who was disciplined. I could be very stubborn sometimes, so we needed somebody who could put me in line. And this is her. She was there. She would set the goals, and her target and standard is so high. You can't go below that. So incredible story. So thank you all.
I think we can't finish this acknowledgement without acknowledging Dr. and Mrs. Adley Japon. Usually when you start off an idea, you need the first person to believe in it. And she was the very first person who presented the idea to and asked her if this will work. And she said, this is incredible. And I think Agnita is here, her daughter. Let's acknowledge Dr. and Mrs. Japon. Yeah. Okay. We feel a bit emotional right now that this has come to an end so soon. But trust me, Landfills2Landmarks 2026 will be even more amazing. We'll have the brands here because by that time, the traceability software will start producing some data with name and shame, acknowledging the people who are supporting reusability, supporting the upcyclers, the whole value chain, being happy, and then most importantly, the livelihoods of the 2.5 million people will be sustained, and their life will be much more amazing. And most importantly, will save the world from carbon emission. Thank you, and see you next year.
Privilege to welcome all of you here today for the opening of this landmark conference, Landmark to Landfills. We're here to redefine the global textile future. Let's not forget what our ancestors knew, that land is more than just territory or property. It is a living, breathing network of relationships between all living things, its histories and futures. May what we do at this conference be that necessary spark that ignites a whole new way of thinking, imagining, and working together.
Today marks more than just an event. It is a bold step towards transforming Ghana's position in the global textile economy and asserting our leadership in sustainability.
The implementation of a well-designed EPR scheme is key to redefining the global textiles for future, which is the very theme of this summit. By shifting from linear models to circular systems backed by clear producer responsibility, we can create a new paradigm, one where reuse, recycling and regeneration are embedded into the design, distribution and post-consumer handling of every garment produced. EPR is not just a policy tool, it is a cornerstone of the transformation we must lend together. Imagine a world where every garment is reclaimed.
There's going to be twice as much textiles created in the next 20 years. So one of the things that we have to bear in mind is that it's not only the type and the quality of textiles that's being created, one of the responsibilities that we need to try and get from manufacturers is that they slow down and don't produce so much of the oversupply. It is unnecessary.
We have a mandate to reduce our emissions by 64 million tons by 2030. And this, when you take a look at it, involves 34 greenhouse gas mitigation climate actions, of which 9 of them are unconditional sectoral measures, unconditional in the sense that at the time of development of the climate action, government had secured some source of funding to be able to reduce those emissions.
Ghana's journey towards a circular economy is not just a policy shift. It is a social transformation. It is about rethinking value, redefining responsibility, and reimagining development. With your support, we are capable of turning the waste into wealth. Our environmental challenges also into climate-smart solutions, and our youth into champions of entrepreneurship. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let us build this future now. The future belongs to us. We have to build it now.